Child, Married to Medicine LA, Season 2, Episode 3. Y'all not bringing it. So let's talk about it. We open up with Dr. Kendra and Dr. Brittany driving. Dr. Kendra is getting ready to do a housewarming. She and her husband purchased their first house. And so they're just driving around, her and Dr. Brittany, looking for a few knickknacks to go in the house. So they're talking about being mixed. And we know that Dr. Brittany is mixed. But we find out a little bit more about Kendra. Kendra's mom is Vietnamese and her dad is black. She tells us that they met over in the Vietnam War and that they fell in love, and her dad brought her mom back to the United States and married her. So I thought that was really a beautiful story. We hear those stories a lot of times about men in war or women in war. They fall in love and then they have to either bring their significant others back, or they go back and get them and bring them back for the love story to continue on. So I thought that was pretty interesting. We also find out that Dr. Brittany is actually from Chicago, and that her mom is white and her dad is black. So they show pictures of them when they were young, you know, just talking about family life. Dr. Kendra talked about how it was run up as an army brat. Her dad was strict, but she's a daddy's girl. And so they kind of bonded over that, which I thought was cute. So they go and they find this store, and she was looking at this orchid rather, and it was in a pot. So it wasn't a real plant. So she was saying, I can see this in my house, something that I don't have to take care of. She was like, she asked the sales guy, do I have to water it? He was like, no, all you have to do is just brush it off. And she was like, sounds like a winner. So she went to the cash register and she purchased this $951 fake orchid. And I was like, okay, little Miss, you know, Married to Medicine LA, little Miss Beverly Hills, I see y'all got money to just $600. $600 for a potted plant. But hey, that ain't my money. Maybe if I had the money that they had, I'd be buying a $600 fake plant to go in my house too. I'm just saying. So we're going to move on. We get to Shanique, and she's at home prepping dinner. She does what she does. She comes home, she takes the kids here and there and to and fro, and she does her wifely, motherly, and home duties. And that's what she does, and I can tell that she likes to do it. And even though there's a little frustration in doing it, she loves doing it. Like me, I love being a wife. I love being a mom. So people are like, you just do this, you do that, you do so much. Why are you doing so much? Because I love to do it. That's what I signed up for. I signed up for a mom. I signed up for a wife. But I also signed up to be me. And so I'm just happy that I have a husband that allows me to be me. And I think with Shanique and her husband, we'll get deeper into that later on in the seasons. I think she's just feeling a little unappreciated. And so her husband steps in. He went and got their son from school, which I was like, okay. He went and picked him up, give her a little time to get home and start cooking. Is pretty much what he did. But anywho, and they start to have fun with each other. He was like, let me help you cook. And then she was like, he just loves Jamaican food. And she was like, you're putting too many spices in it. So they flashed to the confessional, which was really cute. And he was like, yeah, I like to lick everything that has Jamaican spices on. She was like, oh. I was like, okay. They really do love each other. I just think that they're trying to have to kind of find a balance now. As you get older and you're in a relationship or a marriage and things in your life start to change, you know, once you have the children, the home life and all that, then you have to refocus and try to rebalance some things out. So I can really understand where what they're going through right now. I just hope that it doesn't become a big enough issue between both of them that it causes unnecessary drama in the marriage. So Shanique talks about her day, how busy it was, and you know, an issue she had with a domestic violence issue. And, you know, and you can just see some of the stuff that she deals with on a day-to-day just started wearing down on her. And her husband was like, well, are you unhappy? You know, and he's like, and she was like, no, honestly, I'm not unhappy. And then her son said, well, was it frustrating today at work? So I think Shanique just needs to be honest. She needs to be honest with herself and how she's really feeling with her life at this stage. Because her children pick up on the frustration. Because one thing about it, it blends over to home. You can go to work, and if your work is so stressful and you're just so burned out and tired, it's going to show in every aspect of things that you do. And so, you know, her husband was like, well, are you unhappy? Are you frustrated? And then, because his solution is just quit. And Shanique is like, I don't want to quit working. I may want to leave this particular job because she wants to pursue being a realtor. She has her license. And he's like, quit because he wants her to be a stay-at-home mom. You know, take care of the kids, take care of me, take care of the house, do this, do that, you know, and then you don't have to worry about all that. But in essence, she's like, that's not what I want to do. Now, I do want to quit this job I'm on and go into being a realtor for the celebrities, but I don't want to just be a stay-at-home mom. So she's just kind of brushing it off, and I really wish that she would just be honest about where she is in her life, with her job, with the family, with being a mother, with being a wife, you know, with being a working black woman in today's society. And I think that it would, you know, translate over better emotionally how she deals with things on an everyday basis. So, you know, we're just going to see how that plays out. So we fast forward over to Dr. Kendra's house. Her mom comes over, so we get to meet her mom, you know, and she wants her mom to do the cooking for her housewarming. Her mom's like, nah, I don't think I want to do that. And she's like, Mom, you know, I want some real authentic Vietnamese food. I want my friends to get a taste of it, to enjoy it. And her mom's like, no, I don't want to do that. So we all know how mom is. You have a favorite dish. You're like, Mom, please make me my favorite dish. And Mom like, girl, I ain't got time. No. So she was like, okay, then I'll just get somebody to come in and cook. So Dr. Kendra's kind of venting to her mom about, you know, breastfeeding and going back to work. And her mom is really on this thing about just stop breastfeeding. And Dr. Kendra's like, I'm a doctor. I know the benefits of breastfeeding. I was not breastfed. I have all these allergies and this and this and this, and it could have been prevented. And her mom is on this whole, just give the baby some Similac. If you want to go back to work, you're going to have to stop breastfeeding, which is not true. I breastfed all of my children and work. You can pre-pump and you can freeze. You can store your milk. You can make sure that you have enough to sustain your baby while you're at work. Or even if you had a nanny that while you took a break at work can come up and you can pump and you can breastfeed the baby. So there's ways to get around it. But her mom is really on this, no, you need to stop breastfeeding and you need to go back to work. You can have it. You can be the wife, the mother, and do all you want to do if you stop breastfeeding and just give the baby some Similac straight out the bottle. But if you don't do that, you need to pick either breastfeed and not have it or not breastfeed and have it out. And I didn't understand the conversation. Maybe it's something deep that we don't really know about with mom, but she was really on the breastfeeding thing as a negative, and I did not understand why. So, you know, maybe something will come to surface about that, but it was just a really weird conversation. And so Dr. Kendra was like, whatever, I'm not going to do that. So we go on over to Imani. Imani is having lunch with Leah. We learned that Leah's husband is a psychiatrist and that he met Imani first at the hospital where they work at, and so that's how her and Leah became friends. So it's been about a year or so since they've been friends and since they've known each other. So Imani has this weird conversation over lunch, and she's like, girl, your husband is so good. It must be good for a man to tell you how much you need to spend, how much you don't need to spend. So Imani ordered a dish with caviar on it. And I was like, okay, Imani, are you shading your husband? What's really going on here? You know, like, Leah's life is so perfect. They have money. They're able to do the things they want to do. And, like, you're on such a tight budget. Like, is your husband not really working? Is, you know, things kind of strained financially and you're not letting anybody know? But I just really thought that was really weird to throw out there, like you're having a financial problem within your marriage. So I don't know about that one, Imani. But as they're having lunch, Leah asks Imani about Jasmine, and Imani's like, I just think she's messy. I just think that she likes attention. This is something that she's doing, you know, just to get the attention and to be the messy girl in a group. So I don't really get it. I said last review, please don't let this whole season be about Imani and Jasmine beefing, because to me, it's not that serious. But I did say, when you apologize to somebody, and if they don't feel like you were sincere, if you didn't put it out there sincerely, then these people will take it and they'll run with it and have something to hold over your head. And we'll get to that in a minute. So Dr. Kendra, she's back at the house. It's the day of, and people are getting ready to come over. So she has a chef to come in and do the cooking. So it's funny because the chef is a white guy, but he cooks Vietnamese food. It's supposed to be his specialty. And so she has mom there to kind of keep things in order while she's getting ready, taking care of the baby and things like that. And so all while he's cooking, mom is critiquing everything. You're not going to wash that rice? He's like, no, we don't want to wash the rice too much starch and all this, and we want to keep it a certain consistency. And she's like, no. And so then he's cooking some noodles, and he's like, those are. She's like, no, you may need to let them cook. Like, you can tell he was very frustrated. And I was like, Mom, if you wanted to critique and cook, then you should have cooked. Then you wouldn't have to worry about it. It would have been authentic Vietnamese food, which is what your daughter wanted. But since you were such against it, guess what? She got this white guy cooking his specialty, which is Vietnamese food, American style. So it was just funny, and I could tell he was getting frustrated. And Dr. Kendra came down, I was like, how's it going? He was like, man, you didn't get your mom. That's how he was looking. And she knew that her mom was gonna be some type of way about this. So it was really, really funny. So getting there, Brittany arrives at Imani's house. Imani is getting ready, and she has this like camouflage long dress on, and Brittany's like, you need to be zipped up. She was like, yeah, it's nice. She said, I might can fit this. And she said, no, I think it's going to be too big for you. And then Brittany was like, wait a minute, it's an extra small. And she was like, oh, it is? I didn't know. And Brittany was like, girl, you knew. You trying to throw some shade. And then in the confessional, Imani is like, yeah, I'm a little conceited. And so what? You know, so it was like a little funny shade. So she was like, I'm vain, and I know it, and what? And so we was like, yeah, you are. And you have every right to be, but you are. And so it was funny because Brittany was like, she slick trying to throw some shade at me, like, girl, that. But you know, as friends, it's fun shade. So they were talking to Brittany about the whole Jasmine thing, and you know that the girls have been talking about you and your husband. And so, but Brittany's like, I ain't gonna, you know, she was like, I know those messy girls are gonna have something to say, but I'm ready for them. So they go over to the confessional, and Brittany and her husband are like, you know, 3 months ago we were hanging out with Imani and her husband, and we were in Cancun. But Phil was nowhere to be found, and that was, it ain't our business. We ain't gonna do no judging. I was like, oh, okay. So you go on a couple's trip to a romantic place like Cancun, but you leave your husband behind. That within itself is a red flag. So Brittany asked Imani, well, are you gonna confront Jasmine? And Imani is like, I'm just not for her, but if I have to, I will. And Imani and Brittany's like, well, you got on all camouflage, look like you came for war. And Imani said, you know what, I might be. And I was like, okay, so y'all being messy. So either you are or you're not. You're gonna let it go, but you know, we'll see. So Shanique and Jasmine are talking about Imani, and it's like, okay. Y'all just gonna run this in the ground, but fine. Okay, the Imani against Jasmine season. I get it. Okay, Jasmine against Imani. Okay, it's us against the world, I guess. I don't know. I just moving on. So they both are talking about what's going on with Imani and her husband and stuff like that, and you know, reaching out to each person in the group. And you know, Jasmine says she does not think that Imani's apology was real. Here we go again. If you don't think it's real, then just don't accept the apology. It's simple as that. Just don't accept the apology. Move on. It won't be an issue. But of course, that's gonna be the topic of discussion. So, okay, how real is she? I don't know how real she is. Who cares? Whatever. She apologized 10 times already. You act like you good, but then you come back and you talk about it again. I'm tired of it. So Imani, they flash back to Imani and Brittany. Brittany saying, Jasmine saying Imani fake and not real. Pretty much Imani saying Jasmine is fake and not real. And both of them are saying the same thing. Whatever. So we get to the house party. Kendra is there. Everything looks really, really nice. Even the food looks really, really nice. So Imani is right with Brittany, and they arrive. And they're talking about Black Beverly Hills. And they're talking about that's where Ray Charles lived and things to that effect. And they call it Black Beverly Hills because African Americans back in the day could not live in Beverly Hills. So they got the kind of like the hand-me-down houses. So it's like when you go into a really affluent neighborhood, and if we move in, the property value drops. So the white people move out, and you still get a beautiful mansion, but it's not as equal to what it was before you moved in. So she's saying that's why they call it Black Beverly Hills, because it was celebrities with a lot of money lived there. Those were $1 million homes, but it wasn't considered Hollywood. When the white people left, they took the name with them, and we know how that goes. It's just like regentrification right now. You know, they have a beautiful affluent neighborhood. We move in, the property value goes down, we lose those houses, or company comes in and buys it up and then raises the value back up, and then now it's Beverly Hills again. And it's just crazy how that works, but you know, we're used to it because we're always on the short end of the stick. But she's talking about how the homes were beautiful. And so Brittany's husband was like, is that, you know, the RODEO, Rodeo? She was like, yeah, Rodeo Drive, which was funny. Imani said, she said, to white people, it's Rodeo Drive. But to us black people, we call it Rodeo Drive, which is true. And it was funny. He kind of laughed at it. So everybody's arriving. Everybody's getting there. You know, the baby comes out. Everybody's happy to see the baby. It's gorgeous. It's so adorable. And so, Kendra, everybody arrives. So ladies are talking, and they're talking about how it was when they had babies, and they're glad they're past the baby stage because of the stress and this, that, and the other. So just sharing mommy stuff. And they're kind of, it's like an awkwardness about the conversation, and they're just trying to keep it together and just move on. It seems like it went dead or something in the scene. I don't know if they cut something and put something in, and it just went flat. So the dad comes in, and he just, which is Kendra's dad, he comes in and he just talks about how proud of his daughter he is. And he says that people say, well, you can find 5 people within your setting that are successful and have things and apply themselves, then that tells what type of person you are. And he was like, from that, I see that my daughter is a great person. So I thought that was very sweet, dad, you know, kind of putting his daughter up on a pedestal. I like that. So they open up the gifts, and Brittany gives a picture frame. It's like, oh, but then when you look at the picture frame, it's a picture of Brittany. And Imani said she always does that. You can tell her to take a picture, and then when you get the picture, it's a picture of her. I do that a lot, so I know what she's talking about. People be like, take this picture of me. I'll take a couple pictures of them and be like, hold on. Then I'll put a picture of me, and when they go through their phone, it's just me doing silly stuff. So I thought that was cute. So Kendra talks about getting back to herself. You know, as being a new mom, a doctor, a new wife, it's kind of hard, and she's trying to figure out how she can get back to being who she is. And I can see that. I understand after having a baby, you need your me time. Even when kids get older, and I have 6 grown children, sometimes I have to tell my husband, I just need some time to myself. You know, it just happens. He needs time to himself. So we try to do what it can be done to, you know, help us get back to that. So, you know, we go over to Shanique and Jasmine. They go out inside talking about the tension in the air. Like I said, it was really, really weird. And so Shanique is kind of asking Jasmine, were you going to talk to Imani about it? And she was like, yeah. So we see Shanique is going to be Messy Boots. She's going to be the bone collector. She's going to be the collector, the carrier, and the presenter. So she goes to this balcony and asks the ladies to come in. So all the ladies come in. So Imani, like I said, it goes blank again. It gets really, really weird. The flow of these episodes are just dead. It's like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Then it's like, we drop. So I don't know if the personalities or if the tension is really just that thick in the air. I've been in situations like that, but I need them to kind of move it on and get together. So we get into the Imani and the Jasmine thing, and here they go. Your apology wasn't sincere. Well, your apology, I apologize, and you accepted it. The same story since last year. You call my husband a drug dealer, we live in a drug dealer house, this. So Imani's like, when Jasmine talks, emoji cons come out of her mouth. It was so funny because in the confessional, they had emoji cons coming out everywhere. And I'm just tired. I'm already tired. We're 3 episodes in, and I'm like, if this is going to be the running storyline, I must say I'm tired. So Shanique is talking about, you know, people being shady, and y'all need to listen. So Leah jumps in. So Leah and Brittany actually jump in. Brittany's like, what are you talking about? You know, because I think Brittany's kind of like, this is high school stuff. What are you talking about? And Leah was like, dang, she apologizing again. So when Leah speaks, Shanique jumps in. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on with y'all two? So they kind of have words back and forth. And Shanique being Messy Boots talking about, you are talking about these two when you talked about Kendra. She talked about you. I was like, wait a minute. And then Leah was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, Kendra, the outfit that you had on. Leah dragged you talking about, look at her in this Air Force One outfit and this, that, and the other. And then Kendra took it to heart as if the reason I had that on was because that was the only thing I could wear after giving birth. Now, let me say this. Kendra says she's confident in who she is and all this, but I don't really see it. They show pictures of her before, and then they show her after. It's a big difference. She's like, a size 16 isn't that bad, is it? I mean, she has issues. And so for Shanique to bring that up in that girl's house, because Shanique was like, you in her house, eating her food, and you talked about her. And then Leah was like, who are you? What kind of friend are you to know it, sit on it, and then wait till we get here, and then you tell this girl, Shanique, you being two-faced. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I'm going to tell you somebody else who didn't like her husband. they got so loud, the men came in, it was like it was time to go. And so Shanique had nerve to tell her husband, you know, I told her that this girl was talking about her. And then her husband was like, that ain't Christ-like. Why would you do that? Why would you go into that whole spiel here in this setting about that girl? It was just too much. So the atmosphere was just horrible. They shifted, and then they finally ended. I was glad when it was over with, because I was like, y'all just really doing too much for nothing. It just wasn't going anywhere. So I see that Shanique and Leah are going to have an issue, and I'm not sure what the issue is. I think Leah is who Shanique is striving to be. She's, you know, she's free. She can do what she wants. She's uninhibited. Her husband makes money. She has money. She does things. She's, you know, business owner, and it's everybody thinks the grass is green on the other side. So we get home, and Shanique is with her husband. They're talking about Leah and all that, and they start talking about as they're getting ready for bed, they're talking about how her husband is talking about how her bad energy is starting to affect the household. It affects him and her, how she talks to people, because they were using the example how she was talking to Kendra about Leah. And he said, I just don't understand what the problem is. Whatever you're going through is bleeding over into the family. And so she's like, I just feel unfulfilled in my career, and I want to be a realtor. And this went real left real fast for her. Her husband was like, I don't think you're going to have time to do that, because your mom, your wife. He was like, the job you're on, you're making good money. And where's the supplemental income that you're getting ready to leave going to come from? And I thought it was real male chauvinistic, you know, because he felt like, she was like, well, I can do it. Took me back to that portion of Cordell. Well, we can get in that. We can get. No. He was like, you got to sit down and write me a business plan on how you're going to be able to leave this job, go to another job. He said, because you're going to be catering to celebrities. You're going to be on call 24/7. You're going to be here. You're going to be there. You're going to be in different circles, different scenes. Some of his insecurities showed up. And he was like, I'm not sure if I want you to do that. He was like, because you're saying you're going to have more time, but I don't see it. And he was like, you got to pretty much do me a 12-page essay on how this is not going to affect family life. I was like, what the hell? I was like, what? I was like, I get it. The financial, you've created a lifestyle and things to that effect. But where's the communication? Where's the talking to of, we're going to try to work it out. I'll give you a year to try what you want to try. And if they do, my husband and I did that. I left a career, went into another career because I was so frustrated. He gave me 3 years. I took 4. I got back on it. I started making the good money again and doing what we had to do. Then we were able to start our own business and do things. CreativeConcepts.com, you know, CreativeConcepts-events.com. We were able to do all type of things. But he gave me a chance to try it. He's not even giving her a chance. He was like, if your essay ain't good enough, then guess what? You ain't good enough to leave this job and go to another. And I just was like, wow. And Shanique, you being messy and everybody else's business, worried about what everybody else going on, because we find out that Imani's husband has opened up a dispensary. You know, and that's what he's doing. Jasmine is like, she feels like she's being two-faced because you said my husband was a drug dealer. She didn't say your husband was a drug dealer. She said your house looked like drug dealer's house. And she's like, you're being two-faced. Now your husband's selling drugs. She's like, he sells legal cannabis. So it's a difference, you know. But Jasmine with the emoji coming out, everybody's like, girl, now you're reaching. But I'm like, wow, he just shut her down. He was like, no. And I just felt some type of way about that. So they didn't bring it this episode, and they 3 episodes in. So we're going to see what episode 4 brings. But the way it's looking, it ain't looking too prosperous. So we're going to leave it at that. We're going to see where it goes. You guys tune in. Don't forget, check out my website, www.creativeconcepts-events.com. You can also find me on Instagram at the one and only Creative Concepts. And you can also find me on Facebook as well as Twitter. Also, not forget COVID-19. Let's play our parts, guys. Let's wear our masks. Let's disinfect. Let's clean. Let's wash our hands. Let's do our part in social distancing. If there's anything else you can do, just do it. Just do what's asked of you. Do small things. Go out when only you need to. But that's all I have for you guys. Don't forget to tune in. Tuesday, we're going to do our live Little Fires Everywhere review. And we're also giving away another prize. So I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.